So Americans are scrambling, not because they can't afford gas, they can't afford to feed their families. Now we're looking at Americans not being able to feed their families, but we're still giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to each illegal family in the form of digitized currency, in the form of preloaded debit cards. Well, today we're going to talk about the struggle with Americans, the fact that we're giving all our money in a digitized form to people who are not actually supposed to be here. And then on top of that, how is this making us do exactly what the government is wanting us to do? Let's jump into it. Today's video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about this content. Remember, we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the month on February 29th, the leap year, you know how that works. So we're going to be doing a monster giveaway, so please make sure you're subscribed to this channel, also our vlog channel, The Max Life. You'll see a lot about our sheep and about our farm on that channel, so go over there and subscribe to that. Comment on both channels saying that you are subscribed and you're entered into the giveaway. It costs you nothing. It means the world to us that you're watching. But remember, we are doing a giveaway in just a few days, and all it takes is you just commenting, subscribing, and letting us know that in the comments. Let us know also what you think about this video. Now to the stories for today. There's an article done in Zero Hedge. It says supermarket scramble. Food spending is at the highest level in decades. People do not have discretionary income anymore. People do not have the availability to buy food. They're having to use credit cards. They're having to use debt. They're having to find other ways to buy the food. Now here's the thing. Here's what we've been told in the typical Bidenomics. Well, it's actually, food is not going up that much anymore. It's come down a little bit. Okay. That may be the case per item. But here's the thing. The fact that there's still an inflated price compared to 3 years ago, which is normal for things to go up. I understand. Just hear me out. Look at the shrinkflation levels that have went on. Look back at a box of anything that you bought back in 2019, 2020. Now look at the box of what you're buying now in 23, 24, and not only are you paying more for it, it's actually decreased in size and the amount of ounces that's in the box or amount of food that's in the box. So therefore you're paying a higher premium because they're saying it's inflation, but you're actually paying even higher than you think because the amount of goods in those boxes are dropped significantly. So you're having to buy more of something that's costing you more. Therefore people are not able to afford the simple necessities of food. A startling new report shows from the Wall Street Journal says that consumers spent 11.3% of their disposable income in food. That's the highest since 1990, meaning typically everybody bought food and their disposable income was for the extras, the thing they wanted to do. Maybe meals and entertainment, maybe going out to a show, doing some things with your family. Well, now they're saying, we've kind of taken that away from you because of the economy. So all the discretionary income that you would use to go out and have a good time with, you're having to use it to buy basic goods, basic foods, because you can't make it in this typical economy. And here's what your president says. It says, food inflation is a sour subject for the administration ahead of elections. President Biden recently said the American public is tired of being played as suckers. This is the same president that toots his economy saying it's doing great. As I told you before, Wall Street is doing great. So therefore, when Wall Street does good and you see this melt up of this economy that's skyrocketing in these tech stocks, what's happening is the rich are getting richer on the Wall Street side, but on typical Main Street, the way that we do spending, the way that we tax, the way that we run our government is actually harder for Main Street. People on the typical level of normal Americans cannot make it because of the way that we're doing spending. Now, let's move right on into the spending situation. Americans are struggling, and we're wanting to spend $95 billion abroad, not even on our own security or sovereign borders. Now, that's one thing. That's already bad. We've talked about that. But now, guess what New York's doing? They're spending millions of your tax dollars to give every illegal family a $10,000 prepaid card. A shocking 10 million illegals have crossed the southern border in the U.S. since Biden has been president. Now, that's just what we know of, by the way. In New York City, they're going to give as much as $10,000 per illegal immigrant and their family based on what Eric Adams is doing. So now, let's just go through it for a second. What happened to the people of Hawaii? What did they get? $700 from FEMA? What did you get during the pandemic? $700, $1,400, $2,800? And now we're giving illegal immigrants $10,000 cards. So you tell me, how is America struggling? Well, because remember, when we gave all that stimulus back during 2020, it's causing the inflation now. Now that stimulus was less per American than what they're doing per illegal family that's here illegally. I can't state that enough. A legal situation. And we're giving them $10,000 preloaded cards. Now, I don't believe in government giving us anything. I told you, I'm a libertarian. I believe a little bit more that the subsidy programs and the handouts are actually very bad for our economy. It gets people used to it, and therefore you are dependent on the government, just like these people are. They're dependent on the government. But the problem is, if you're going to do that, if you're going to give money away, wouldn't you think you would want to give it to the American family so the American family could do better? So the American family could pay off some debt? So the American family can afford their own food? It's showing that Americans can't even hardly afford food. They're saying more than 30% of people actually go to bed hungry in America now. The homeless rates have skyrocketed. But no, we have the money to give $95 billion across the world, abroad, basically. And really what it is cash to defense spending here in America. So that's why all these people are on board for it. But then we're not only doing that, we're spending millions of dollars to give 10 million illegal immigrants, the ones in New York anyway, of that 10 million, $10,000 preloaded cards. And another thing, it's weird that the government is giving money. They always give it in the form of digitized currency. There's a report that said digitized currency could be, a CBDC could be in the works prior to a 2024 election. Now that's very short term. But do you see how if we get so involved to the point where we have to have so many subsidies, so much handouts from the government, and it's all coming in digitized forms, wouldn't you think that'd be pretty easy? If the government told you today, well, I'm gonna give you $10,000 like they did illegal immigrants, and they said, well, the only way you can spend it though is in a digitized prepaid card. You can't put it in your bank and cash it out. It has to be spent. Well, remember, our American economy runs on debt and consumer spending the money. Well, then all of a sudden, if it's on the prepaid card, then they know everything that you're purchasing because it's tracked based on MasterCard and Visa. So not only are you getting free money, you're getting tracked and surveilled, but also you're having to spend it on things. You can't just keep the money because they're usually prepaid gift cards to where you have to use the money. So these three stories kind of look like, wow, how can we combine these stories? None of them are alike. They're all consequential of each other. American is struggling because of inflation and shrinkflation because we gave so much money during the stimulus times, Obama and Trump times, for the pandemic and for the recession. So we got all this free money. That free money causes us to then inflate. That inflation causes Bidenomics to happen, so the rich get richer in the stock market. Main Street struggles. Inflation and shrinkflation is getting worse. Americans don't have the money, so then the American says, hey, I need money for the government. I mean, we really need help here. So therefore, you're now seeing not only illegal immigrants getting piles of money, which is going to cause for more inflation and shrinkflation. Now you're going to see Americans say, you know what, if they get it, we should get it. So therefore, if we get it, we may need a form of a digitized currency like they did, a prepaid car. Well, if the government's saying, well, hey, you know, we did give illegal immigrants a lot of money. Why don't we help Americans? Because remember, it's election year. So if a Biden wants to get elected again, what could he do? He could say, you know, we're going to pass this stimulus plan. We're going to give all Americans a few $1,000s in their pocket to help them. But we're going to give it to them in a digitized form and a prepaid form. Most people would be lined up for it. Do you see that progression? Inflation, shrinkflation. The fact that now we're giving more money to people that we shouldn't be giving to, that's going to cause more of a problem with spending. Therefore, more people are going to need the government to help us. Now, tying all that in, if you are not sustainable and you are not trying to raise your own food, if you're not trying to budget your own money, if you're not trying to save and get out of debt, if you're not trying to live on less than you make, you will be in that line. Like a bread line. You will be standing there saying, please, government, hand me this prepaid card. Please, government, do like you've done with illegals. Give me the money. Instead of us saying, you know what, subsidies-wise and the government-wise, they shouldn't be giving us any money. We should have a flat tax, and that flat tax is supposed to help our roads and our government to do the necessities, not just all this extra. We shouldn't be giving billions of dollars across the world. We shouldn't be giving multi-hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal immigrants that's come here illegally. At the same time, we shouldn't be giving Americans handouts. If we didn't earn it, we don't deserve it. If I didn't work for it, I don't need it. And therefore, if we learn to get on a budget and we learn to be sustainable and we learn to be a good steward of what God gives us, then we won't be in the breadline. We won't be wanting subsidies. We won't be wanting handouts. And I believe we'd be more responsible. Think if our government did that. Think if our government became more responsible. Balanced budget, no lobbying, term limits for the Senate and congressmen. Do you realize how much America would be better? It would, because there'd be no pork projects, no handouts. Everything will be based on merit and what you earn. Boy, that'd be a pretty good America, wouldn't it? I think freedom and liberty was supposed to be that way, and I think America was set up that way. But slowly and surely, we're the frog and the bull in water. Massive handouts, massive inflation, and shrinkflation. Americans can't afford to live. All of a sudden, Americans see billions of dollars spent across the world, millions of dollars spent on illegal immigrants here that need government handouts. Therefore, America puts their hand out and say, look, well, if you're helping these people, you need to help us. Then we build a system that is completely needing government intervention. The biggest growth of American jobs since Biden has been president is in the government sector. More government jobs have been provided, other than the fact that people are getting part-time jobs to try to pay for all the things they need. So the more we allow our government to inflate, the more power we give them, the more we lose our freedom. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. I wanted to tie these three stories together because I think we miss out on really what each of these stories mean for you and your money and your safety and your sustainability. We cannot depend on the government. We got to quit looking for handouts and subsidies and start looking at merit-based living, good stewardship living, and understand that we can be sustainable. But we have to get out of this mentality to believe that government's going to help us do anything. We got to get these people out of power who are wanting to control us, because that's exactly what we've got on both sides of the political aisle right now. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Again, remember, subscribe to both channels so you'll be entered in the giveaway. It will be February 29th. I can't wait to share what we're going to be giving away, and we just appreciate you being a part of the Max and the Max life. It means the world to us that you watch us each and every day. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.